Ever since Andrew Garfield left the Amazing Spider-Man franchise in a giant fight that was very public with Sony, we haven't had him actually address much of it in any sort of official way or even talk about what went wrong. Up until now, thanks to a brand new interview with Variety. So let's get to it. Even though I have been very vocal about the quality of the Amazing Spider-Man films, most people know that I constantly say that Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, is one of the biggest, most wasted opportunities in Hollywood's history when it relates to comic book roles and what the actors could have done versus what we got. And of course at the center of it is Sony, because it's really their fault if we look back on it. We know how they treated the actors, we know how they treated the director, we know how they treated each other within Sony because of all the public leaks that we got in relation to that franchise specifically, but all of Sony. So when he spoke with Variety, Andrew Garfield reflects on the time by saying that when it came to both films, he had a beautiful time working on them, interacting with the fans making the films, of course referencing the director and the rest of the cast and crew. But then he goes on and talks a little bit about Amy Pascal, who of course was one of the heads of Sony at the time, calling many of the shots, and he specifically talks about the fight that he would have with her and the producers. And he says he doesn't really blame her because of course it's the corporate side of everything. Yes, they would go back and forth, but she was sort of a mother figure in essence, as he says, and when you really look at it from a different perspective, you understand what was going on. And again, this is something we've said the entire time here, ever since this franchise got defunct. Sony had too many cooks in the kitchen. There was even some cooks outside the kitchen staring through the window, which could make their own vision come true and step on other people that are directly working on the meal. Sony was a disaster at this time. And again, Pascal had to do what was best, answering to 100 voices. And we've seen that when she's given more reins to work with other people and other studios in a more one-on-one manner, we get more of what we want. So there's a lot of blame being tossed out here, and I like that Andrew comes out and says, look, it's not really all on her, that's not fair. And we know who's to blame. Uncle Abby. And Garfield even ends it by saying he would have conversations with her, and they would try to meet in the middle with some ideas and plans and character arcs and direction, but ultimately she had to answer to the studio. And that's what it was down to, and that's what caused the major fights and the fallout in the end. And again, he's telling you 100% truth, because we know this for a fact. We very much publicly saw all of this blow up in Sony's face to the point where they were like, well, we gotta reboot again, and now we gotta go work with Disney, or we're gonna look like complete idiots.